Yo, what is going on, Cover One crew? Welcome back to the show. It is that time, podcast time, baby. Got my guy, Eric Sojash, in the house. What's going on, buddy?
Good, I'm good. Feeling good today. Glad we got a little bit earlier for pod, so we're not feeling a little tired.
Yeah.
Ready to roll.
Ready to go. There's lots of things going around this NFL, but we got to start with one thing that's a little bit close to my heart because of my guy, Julio Jones. He goes and signs with your Eagles. Unbelievable. 1-year deal. And I understand. Okay, first of all, if you guys obviously don't know, most of you know my favorite wide receiver of all time is hanging up right behind me right there, Andre Reed. My number 2 is Julio Jones, and I understand. I saw Jerry Rice, Calvin Johnson. I've seen all these guys play, but I love me some Julio. I would have loved to have gotten a Buffalo Bills jersey of him, but now you get the pleasure of having Julio on your roster, man.
It's awesome. It's awesome. I don't know about the football side. He's been a while since Julio's been a dominant football player, but just as a fan of football growing up, fantasy, the whole package, Julio's been one of my favorite players of all time. He's one of the favorite players to watch. This is just, it's a match made in heaven. I can't wait to see him just wear that green, that midnight green. I'm definitely getting a jersey. It just has to go in the collection. Has to go in the collection.
Yeah.
This is music to my ears. Plus, you know what? He's got a connection with AJ. We heard about that from their Tennessee days. He also has a connection with Devontae. They're both alumni from Bama, and I remember seeing Devontae asked about his top 5. Definitely had Julio as his number 1. So this receiver room is just getting happier, man. I got to take a trip to Philly and jump in on that receiver room one of these days, man. That's a dope room to be in right now.
Right? I mean, and the way he's going to be able to school these guys up, okay, maybe he can't teach them how to catch touchdowns, but Julio is the guy, man. And we get it. I mean, he's past his prime. He's going to be there just for supportive piece. I don't expect a whole heck of a lot out of him. Maybe he sees the field. He's likely going to start on the practice squad and then get elevated as soon as he gets acclimated with the playbook and such. But I mean, it's Julio. I was hoping his career would get, prolonged a little bit, and it has. But let's talk about your Eagles on the recap, because I mean, this was a bad finish to what was a struggle of a game. Jalen Hurts on the arm of Jalen. He throws a pick, and I mean, right at the end, you had 2 minutes and maybe a little bit more and change left in the contest. What the hell was this? I mean, you should have ran out the clock and, hope for the best. Your defense was still playing very well. You could have even punted if you didn't get the first down, and you still would have given Zach Wilson, maybe under a minute left? I don't know what the hell I was watching. Jalen Hurts 3 interceptions, dude. That had to hurt.
That was a rough one, man. I'm still hurting from that one. I rewatched it again. I feel exactly the same way I felt in real time. That one hurts. That game was uglier than the Super Bowl loss, even though that was a bigger magnitude. This game felt like I hate losing games you shouldn't lose, right? This is a premise that I've always lived by. It's the worst feeling, and that was definitely a game we should not have lost. The 3 interceptions, though, I'm not putting it on Jalen the way it seems like the public is. The first one, that was a fluke play. If you saw that, he threw it, he completed the pass to Dallas. The defenseman made a great play, punched it out, ricocheted, turned into an interception. It was pretty much like a fumble that turned into a pick. The second one feels like they were trying to press the issue and go for a deep shot there after Lane Johnson was already out of the game.
Right.
So we got a backup right tackle in. We're taking 5-step drops, trying to take a deep shot. His elbow gets hit, right? That ball gets deflected now, interception. The third one is the one where I'm like, I don't know what he's looking at. I don't know what we were doing. And just like what you're saying, why are we even putting him in that situation? I thought when they called the play, it was going to be a one read, wide open, or he's going to do his typical, quarterback run, take the tackle. Don't worry about it. They have no timeouts. Let the clock run, punt it. I thought that's what we were okay with. The defense dominated. They only gave up field goals all game. Zach was going to have to go the full field and then get another field goal, which is something that he hasn't been able to do in his short career. So I don't know why we didn't just play that field position. I put that on Sirianni more than anything else. But that was Jalen's worst game. I'm very eager to see how he bounces back from that.
It was baffling to me as I watched it, because it is situational awareness in football, and you clearly dropped the ball on Sirianni, even Hurts. I think they're both to blame. I think the play call was dumb. I think that the execution was even worse from Hurts. And
Yep.
I've been praising Hurts. I said, his passing aptitude. I mean, he made a gorgeous pass to A.J. Brown, grown-ass man, and he made that catch on the sideline. Unbelievable grab. So, I mean, there is some positives out of that. But, I mean, situational awareness, you don't see, especially over the last, maybe 2 years, full 2 years, we haven't seen the Eagles do anything in that realm of mistake. And this Jets defense, I think, maybe was the catalyst in that because they play teams so hard. And I mean, as a Bills fan, every time the Jets beat somebody, I'm kind of vindicated because I say, it wasn't Josh Allen's fault in that first week because that defense is just so damn good and they're going to take it to everybody.
Absolutely. The defense is a great defense, right? They were without some of their top secondary players, but schematically they still play, the same type of style. They just didn't have quite the talent on the back end, but they showed up when they needed to, right? AJ still had a big game, so it wasn't like they shut us down per se with the backup corners. But what I think happened there is Jalen was caught reading the defense pre-snap and he misread them. Like when you watch the film, it looks like he's just staring down the guy and he should see both linebackers. He's not a very tall quarterback. These linemen are 6'6", 6'7", 6'8". I don't think he actually is seeing over the line like the camera's trying to give us that angle at. He didn't see that linebacker because I believe previously that linebacker had showed a blitz and had come. So from how quickly he had thrown the ball and everything, I believe it was a pre-snap read that he had completely read wrong, went through with it, made a huge mistake, basically cost the team the game. But congrats to the Jets. They're going to take a parade. I hope they know this is a long season. I hope Saleh knows this is a very long season. He should know because he was the one that was on the receiving end of previous trash talk from Sean Payton, and it's been a hell of a run for Sean Payton so far. Karma's a bitch. Yep. So I think Saleh's gonna have to. This is one I think he's gonna be hearing about. Talking about embarrassing everybody's quarterbacks. Only 7 weeks in. You got a lot more weeks of football to go, man. You got a lot more weeks to go.
Don't be talking too early, man. And I understand he's starting to feel himself a little bit. He's 3-3, and rumor has it Aaron Rodgers could come back. I don't even understand. I'm sorry, conspiracy theory out here. Did he even pull his Achilles? I don't know. I've never seen a human ever come back that fast. But, man, the Eagles, they stumble, and the Bills, let's talk about the Bills on the recap. They come back from jet lag from London, and, I mean, they barely held on. I thought this was going to be a 40 spot without even blinking. Something's wrong with this Bills offense right now. It is not gelling. They're going constantly to a Stephon Diggs. They're not spreading the ball around. I mean, there were some missed calls. The reffing has just been so bad in the NFL the past 3 weeks. I'm starting to lose my damn mind. But, I mean, the run game was working when Josh was under center. I don't know why they went away from that. I just get some more, they kept saying they started slow and they couldn't get, what was the word he used? A continuous flow of the game, for lack of a better term. But, I mean, you had the opportunities when you were under center and you were handing the football off and then you were doing your quick outs. I mean, started with Gabe going nice and the Bills looked okay, and then it just stumble. And you're almost losing to a New York Giants Tyrod Taylor squad. I mean, I don't know. This Bills team right now, they got to figure something out because I don't know what is wrong with this offense right now.
That was a shocker. I will say that I think I missed the boat on that one because I was heavy Bills. I thought just the fact that they had stumbled in London, that they were going to come back ready to punch and playing such a inferior team. I thought there was no chance. But on the other end of it, we forgot that the guy that I don't want to say made Josh Allen, but the guy that helped Josh Allen become from an average quarterback to an elite quarterback was on the other side of the field. And I remember hearing about it earlier in the day that people are sleeping on the fact that the Giants might have the one guy that knows how to slow Josh Allen down more than anybody else, right? So the game ended up being a lot closer than we thought. The Giants defense did play pretty damn good. There was a lot of, crazy calls both ways. There's a lot of iffy calls. That was a very, very ref-oriented, influenced game, let's say. But the Bills should have handled business. Either way, that's a stumble for them. I'm not sure what's going on with that offense. I'm looking to you to find those answers because, I've been jumping on the Bills. I think they're supposed to be one of those teams that's going to go far. They've been due, and I like the way they approached the offseason. They're running the ball well, like you're saying. Cook was 6 yards a clip. He was going. So I don't know what it is if they just get away from things. If something gets stopped once or twice and they don't have the resilience to keep coming back to it, they're not disciplined in that area. I'm not sure, but they definitely are a team that I have expectations of, and right now they're not meeting them.
See, and for me, it's like, okay, we spoke about it after the game, and a dub is a dub, regardless. Ugly win, great
Yep.
win, great showing. Win's a win, man. It's hard to win in this league. But what concerns me the most is almost like
Facts.
there's complacency. Almost. I know it's kind of weird to say because the Bills haven't won anything to be complacent about, but it's like, okay, we're done with being the AFC East winners because we know we can do it. And it's like almost like the Patriots' old mantra back in the day. It was like, the season's just a formality. We're going to win 12, 13 games. It's when the playoffs come, and that's when we're going to play ball. Maybe that's part of it. Maybe we even see I'm completely speculating. I have no facts on this whatsoever. Maybe it's Dorsey trying to not put as much film on the tape for guys like or teams like Kansas City and Andy Reid. Maybe that's part of the MO, because when we saw him do that motion sweep outside the back for Hardy and he scores a touchdown, there's the damn creativity that we know from a Ken Dorsey and expect. But why isn't it not consistent the entire time? I feel like this team is doing things a little differently this year because they want to keep some things in the bag when they play those big baller teams like the Chiefs, like the Eagles, whoever else, like the Cowboys, Dolphins again. And clearly when we played the Dolphins, we looked a lot better on both sides of the ball. And this defense with Sean McDermott has got it rolling very well, even without guys like Milano and Trey. They play very well. I mean, what else can we say? But this offense, I would like to see at least, 50% better, even if you want to hold things in the bag. Give me a little bit more because it's very hard to watch this team right now.
Yeah, I feel for you, but you're still winning games, right? Like
Still
you
winning.
said, a W is a W. I would have took an ugly W over those Jets over that depressing loss. So you got to take a win where you can. You might be onto something though. Like some people might think that's a little crazy. I don't think so. I think that it doesn't bode well to completely show your hand all the time. You've seen it in all kinds of different realms of sports, uh, betting, poker, anything, right? It's not always the best bet to just show everyone what you're capable of off the rip. So there's other ways of saying it. Like some teams like the Eagles, they say we're trying to get better every week. We're not trying to play our best ball in week 6. We want to play our best ball by week 18. You guys are not trying to run Josh Allen to the ground, which is a good idea. Save that for the playoffs because when he can run, it's almost unstoppable, the offense. So it could be something that you guys are saving some of those trick plays, the Josh Allen running ability and everything for later on. And you know that you have the defense that can pretty much hold 70% of the league, intact. So you might be onto something with that.
Yeah, it's like I said, pure speculation. But I mean, after all the last 3 years, I mean, now this is year 2 with Dorsey as the OC. This is the only thing I can come up with on why things aren't working. But maybe they oversimplify. But I mean, you see at the end there with Dable and McDermott, the barely any handshake and kind of some static. That was pretty crazy.
Yeah, no, that was. It was skipping a little bit there, so I didn't catch the last thing you were saying.
Oh, my bad. No worries. We'll move on to the Dallas Cowboys anyway. Monday Night Football. And we got to say, Dak Prescott, he looked good, okay? And I've been very critical on Dak Prescott, for the last probably 2 seasons because we expect the Cowboys to be an upper echelons team in the NFL. And they get a Brandon Cooks. You expect a lot more out of this team. On Monday Night Football against those Los Angeles Chargers, Dak looked good. He was spreading the ball around. McCarthy, you finally understand you got a guy named Brandon Cooks on your team that can play ball. They look good. I was big time impressed with what they are, but it just seemed like the Chargers and the Cowboys are so evenly matched that it was the reason why it was such an entertaining contest.
Yeah, they're teams that have that Spider-Man meme going on. Like they look like two teams that the quarterbacks super talented. I know some people hate on Dak. Our last show together, I told you I felt strongly that Dak was going to bounce back. I'm still on the Dak side. I believe in him 100%. As an Eagles diehard fan, if you really follow the Philadelphia Eagles the last 5-7 years here, Dak has been beating us, man. He's had our number. It's not a guy we want to go up against. So I got to be real about it. I think he's definitely a good quarterback, and yesterday was one of his best performances. And he did exactly what I told you I thought he was lacking, which was running, right? I wasn't sure if it was something to do with the injury from the leg or if it was just the play calling or what. But yesterday he said, F it. This is almost a must win. We can't go back to back primetime losses. Fall that behind. The Eagles were 5-1 at the time. He didn't want to fall a couple games behind us. So I think he was going full throttle there, and he showed it. I thought he played exceptional ball. He escaped the pocket. He was doing some Houdini things there. He was pretty accurate. He missed a couple throws, but overall, that was one of his best performances from my perspective.
In a long time, absolutely. The best play was when he rolled out and then he found Tony Pollard across the middle, and then Pollard made that unreal effort to spin move and then try to go for the end zone. But those were the types of things we haven't seen from Dak Prescott in a quite a while, I want to say. It was almost like he's playing timid ball. But I love the fact they finally got Brandon Cooks involved. You start to do this, and you're going to relieve a lot of pressure going to CeeDee Lamb's side. This man's going to see singled up every single play. McCarthy, I think you got to get me on your staff, bro, because I think we could help each other out and get this team moving.
Yeah, McCarthy's interesting. When he ran the clock at the end of the half there, I didn't quite understand not taking any shots there. If he's scared they're going to turn the ball over, but every quarterback knows if it's not there in the first read, you just throw it straight through the back of the end zone. So I'm not sure what the fear was there. They're lucky, though. Overall, that team, it felt like both teams were trying to necessarily win the game, lose the game. Brandon Staley still makes me worry. I'm not sure what the Chargers are doing. Like, they have themselves an elite quarterback in terms of his physical attributes, what he brings to the table. He's calm in the game. He doesn't let anything rattle him. He seems to have his emotions completely in check. He's really good at the podium. But there's not a lot of flaws in a Justin Herbert. So I can't really put what's going on with them on him. There's something else going on that side of the ball for sure. I'm not sure what it is, but I think it's the coaching.
It's weird, man, because we were talking before, and I said 22%, I think it said, of throws he missed that were good throws that should have been on point. That's a big stat for a elite, quote unquote, quarterback in the NFL, and it bodes the question, because have we seen great success for a Justin Herbert when it comes to clutch time? And I can count probably on one hand how many times I felt comfortable with a Justin Herbert in crunch time, 2 minutes left in the game, try to win it. Like, I'd have to look up the stat to not be a liar of how many fourth quarter comebacks this man has. But it just seems like every time this team crumbles, whether it be on the defense, I'll give that to a Coach Staley, but on the offensive side, it just seems like they just can't do the kill shot to go out and win the game and just go home and be happy about it. There is something missing with a Justin Herbert, and I'm saying, when is it time that we're going to start labeling this man Kirk Cousins clutch? Because this is not good.
I won't go that far just because the talent, I think, has always been superior to say a Kirk Cousins class. But I feel you. Like, he's getting anointed a lot of high rankings, and he hasn't really produced when you need a quarterback to produce at most. He seems to be the guy that can produce when, the team is rolling and everything's clicking. He has a great team, man. Around him on offense, you can't really fault what they put around him. Austin Eckler, Keenan Allen, these are elite, top 5 in their position type players on any given day. Like, Keenan Allen at this age is phenomenal, no doubt. What we're seeing him do on Sundays against, regardless, man, press, zone, he's beating it all. And like you're saying, 22% miss. I just remember the big one he missed to Keenan. That was an easy one too. That's a tough double move, burning them right off the rip. That should be a gimme. I'm not sure what's going on with Justin, but the adversity he's facing, it should help him build, because I do believe he has the ability and the talent. I think they just need to get someone else in there. I really think. I know putting it on coaching for back-to-back coaching staffs is tough. This is one time I kind of feel like it might be right. Anthony Lynn was starting Tyrod over this guy. And now Brandon Staley's a defensive-minded coach, and he seems to do some strange things, and he wants to be like, let's always go for it. But, like, you don't have a tush-push, so you don't know how to go for it. Yeah. I don't know why you're doing, 30-yard throws when you need inches. Like, these are things that come back to haunt you at the end of the game. So I'm still on the side of Justin Herbert. I think if you play the long game, and we talk about him in 5 to 7 years, this will be like Trevor Lawrence's first year times 2, maybe. It's just extended a little longer. But once he found the right coaching staff, once he found the right OC, and everything started to become comfortable, I think he's going to take off.
I think what we're seeing with Kellen Moore as the OC is very encouraging. I do like it a lot, because this offense seemingly feels more open. It feels more balanced, and there's a dedication to get Keenan Allen the ball. You go and look back to last year's CeeDee Lamb numbers with a Kellen Moore. He had 154 targets, if I'm not mistaken, career-high season for CeeDee Lamb as the true wide receiver 1. You're seeing that from Keenan Allen. Everyone says, oh, well, they miss Mike Williams. Man, okay, don't give me the injury because they have enough wide receiver talent on this club that even with, Mike Williams is a great talent, no question. But they have so much talent that can replace. Josh Palmer's a baller. You got QJ in the back waiting. I mean, you still got Gerald Everett. Donald Parham is playing ball. You have the safety blanket, like you said, in Austin Eckler. You got pieces that a Mike Williams doesn't necessarily remove everything that you were doing on this offense anyway. This is what makes it more confusing for me when I evaluate a Herbert, because it's like, I understand, okay, he's playing with a broken finger, but it's on the non-throwing hand. I get it, but still, that's going to, inhibit his play on pain tolerance. Completely understand that as well. But I'm with you. I think Staley is the wrong coach for this team. Why are you allergic to scoring points, man? Even if you're too scared to get the inches, kick the bloody field goal. You would have been up by 3 when Dallas was driving and still give you an opportunity to be in this game as the time was ticking down. Staley's killing me, man. You're going for it in your own 30-yard line. You're out, man. That's for me. You're done.
Yeah, no, I'm with you with that. I'm ready to see somebody else get a shot to see what goes on with Justin. But he is the guy that's going to be in that hot seat now going forward. He got paid. He's got the team around him. Justin really's got to start performing. I think he will, but he's got to start showing. Like, it's time. Enough of this.
It's time. I agree, man. Speaking of elite talent, Keenan Allen, much like a Mike Evans, why don't these guys generate more respect? Keenan Allen.
Keenan. Oh, sorry.
No,
go ahead, man.
You go ahead. Go ahead.
Keenan's a baller. He's elite. He's got that elite running, route running. He does get respect amongst other receivers. I've seen Judy give him respect. I've seen Devontae give him respect. I've seen a lot of the receivers that I find that are getting respect from the social media world and the media world there. They're actually paying the tribute to a Keenan Allen. So he's getting it on the back end. The guy, he's phenomenal. For some reason, he's gotten this injury rep, where I believe it's not even actually, if you look at the numbers, it's not real. He's just had that one. Last year was the real time where he missed significant time due to an injury, and he tried to come back and then re-aggravated it. And that's where it really started to become like a thing where it's like he's injury prone or something. But the guy's amazing, man. I think
it's only been 2 years that he's actually dealt with significant injury.
There you go. So only 2 years. So yeah, it's not really a thing with him. He's 31 years old, so I think he's in year 8. So he's a baller, man. This guy, to me, he's a Hall of Fame talent, just like Mike Evans. The consistency's there. When he's on the field, you can't guard him. They put their best guys on him. He'll beat them no matter what type of coverage they call. So it's a no-brainer to me. He's a stud.
It's insane because we all devalue him, and myself included. Look at even fantasy football. You devalue him every single year. Keenan Allen in the second round. No, I don't want to touch that at all. Why not? Why not? This guy does nothing but put up numbers for you. Keenan Allen in the third round. Okay, maybe I could take him in the third. He's like your top 10 wide receiver every single year, just like a Mike Evans is. We got to get our priorities straight, man. Get on this right now and call them elite because they are fabulous talents. But man, oh man, shifting gears, Miami Dolphins. I found this to be very interesting. One of the 5-1 teams in this league right now. We saw Shannon Sharp talking all the good grace of Tyreek Hill, saying he's one of the best talents in the NFL, that everybody's afraid of him, and I have a hard time disagreeing. But I want to go kind of to this degree as well. Remember when we were talking about the Eagles and I was suggesting, perhaps they weren't battle-tested to the nth degree when they went to the Super Bowl. This is kind of shaping up that way for these Dolphins because in 5-1, their combined winning percentage of the teams they've beaten this year is a 1.172%. That is like the bottom feeders of the NFL, and the only loss came to the Buffalo Bills. So, I mean, yes, they are a track team. Yes, they are explosive, extremely fun to watch. But, I mean, playing your Eagles is going to definitely tell me a tale as well.
I think they're legit, man. I never knew that stat until you told me. That is telling. I think one thing to back them up with that stat is that they're dominating those games. So if you are playing inferior talent, the eye test is, are you actually dominating those games, right? And for the most part, they are. They're blowing them out. Tua's not playing in the fourth quarter. They're resting players. They're doing line dances. They're putting on a show. Everybody in Miami is having a ball right now. So with that said, I can still ride with them in terms of they have proven to be what they are. They are a strong 5-1 team. But when they run against a great team like Buffalo, at defense especially, they realize that Big Brother's still here. Same thing happened to Dallas when they ran into San Francisco, and unfortunately, something happened with San Francisco with some injuries when they ran into an elite defense like Cleveland. So it can happen. Philly ran into an elite defense like the Jets. So I think there's some parity there, right? But overall, I think Miami's still one of those strong teams. I'm still riding behind them. I still have them as one of my top four. I think they're going to be right in there, the final four there, at least the final six. Let me push back before I go too deep, but at least the final six. I'll say that because I am still not too sure about Baltimore, but we can touch base on that later. But yeah, Miami's still one of those teams that I think is a solid team, man. They're gonna have to figure out other ways to move the ball if teams are able to take Tyreek away. Because when Tyreek is rolling, this team is dominating,
Money.
absolutely dominating. They're having fun moving him behind the line in motion and just running right at teams, and they're backpedaling right out the gate. And there's a 15-yard completion with no effort, right? So when they're doing that to teams and teams are just on the back pedal on their heels, it's working. But when teams are punching them in the mouth like your Bills did and playing that shell coverage and not afraid of Tyreek, then we're going to see what happens. So I'm very curious when they start playing some better defenses, some defenses that aren't afraid of that speed, some defenses that can find special ways to take Tyreek away, what they're going to do. Because Waddle hasn't really been that dominant so far either.
It's weird with the Waddle effect because we saw 2 weeks ago there was a conscious effort from McDaniel to get Waddle the football. There should have been 2 TDs to Waddle that game, but that second one went for an interception from Tua. But there's issues here with this Miami team that I'm not concerned about, but it's glaring to me that there are beatable aspects of them. But when this team is running with Mostert, I mean, you put in Achane, off the A-chain, you put in Achane, and you put in Mostert, it's like you're not even missing a beat. You could even put Salvon Ahmed in there. I'm guaranteeing you he's still going to get 100 yards. Like they're able to run this football so well because they mask what they're doing with all the motions, with all the speed. Everybody's scared of Tyreek, and it's going to be a big problem as they continue. But there is beatable traits, and the fact that it is a .172 on the opposing records, it just tells me how bad the teams are that they are playing, which isn't a negative on them because, like you said, they are blowing teams out, so they are doing the business, taking care of it. But it's interesting because when you're not fully battle tested, you will get hit in the face, and that's when you'll stumble, and you don't want to be stumbling in December and January when everything's on the line. So the second half of the season, I think, is going to tell a great tale of these Miami Dolphins and what they truly are.
Absolutely. First big test for them and for the Eagles is this week. This is a good test for both teams. I'm excited to see how this game goes because I think it's going to be a battle of two wills. Who's going to impose their will more? We've been pretty powerful. When I say we, I'm talking about my Eagles. We've been pretty powerful and dominant on the front line. So I want to see if we're going to be able to do that against a team that feels that they can run against any defense. And I got to give a shout out to Mostert, man. This guy he's killing it. Everybody's giving Tua and the coach props, which they deserve. And Tyreek, obviously, he's getting MVP votes. But Mostert's crazy, bro.
Crazy.
He's hopping over people, man. Like this guy is balling. 31-year-old man. Shipped around the whole league. We had him. 49ers had him. Nah, you got to give some props to Raheem Mostert right now. He's playing some football, and this isn't just right. This has been carrying over. As long as he's been healthy, dude's been running the ball.
He was hurdling like Christian McCaffrey. I was like, bro, where the hell did that come from? Because I haven't seen that in a long time. He's good. He's always had wheels. His biggest problem was the injuries. Could never stay healthy. It was like an Eli Mitchell in San Francisco. The water's different in Miami. I guess that's how we got to put it down. He's getting some vitamins out of that seawater. But quickly on this one, I just wanted your touch point here on this one. The NFL has unanimously, I can't talk today, approved and proposed a postponement of in-person head coach interviews for candidates employed by other NFL teams until after the divisional rounds. I'm applauding the NFL for finally getting something correct here because every other team that was, out, they were basically, or continuing in the playoffs, they were out in the head coaching staff in every aspect. I think this is great. You kind of even the playing field on how teams can, keep and actually interchange coaches.
Yeah, I took a quick look at the headline. The first thing I thought was, that's great. There's some progress. Second thing I thought was, why not just postpone it until after the Super Bowl? Just make everybody available. I don't understand why there's this need to get it done while teams are still playing. Like, just make the offseason, and, get everyone this exact same playing field. I still don't get why it's being done while there's a few teams left playing, but progress is progress.
Yeah, it's good. I do like it. I think it's a very important aspect for the NFL to get right, but it is good stuff. So moving forward to the injury roundup time. It is not good. I'm telling y'all. We had so many injuries happen this week. It's so difficult to find the replacements for our fantasy teams. We're going to start off with Justin Fields, man. This was a bad one. Right throwing thumb dislocation. Luckily, there is no fracture, but there could be some ligament tear in his fingers. This could potentially be an IR potential return. We're talking 4 to 6 weeks on the thumb. I don't like to cheer for injuries, but it gets me out of the bet with this guy for $50 that Fields was going to get 4,000.
Yeah, you got lucky with that one. You might have got lucky with that one, unfortunately, because I also got Fields in fantasy too, so that's devastating for me in one of my leagues. Looks like I could never play him in the right weeks too. He was so hit or miss. But yeah, unfortunately for him, it looks like on the throwing hand, so that has to heal like close to 100% before I would even consider putting him back out there if I'm them, especially with the position they're in right now. I read they actually are holding the top 2 picks. If they were to hold the draft tomorrow, Chicago has the top 2 picks in the upcoming draft. So they're not too incentivized to rush him back. Definitely going to have to be looking at other plays there and not at the Chicago backup. That is not an option.
Agreed. It's terrible. And I mean, if we're pivoting to the NFL draft, is there any shot they go Caleb and Marvin if it was to be today and try to trade Justin Fields?
I think they definitely do that. Absolutely. He did show, some flash here in a couple games, but it was same thing as last year. It wasn't enough to show that he's like the true guy to move forward with. And then the injury now, unfortunately, sets him back. I think Fields will have to show you at least like 4 to 5 more solid production games before that team is ready to say they're going to hang on to him over like a Caleb Williams.
It's crazy. It's crazy how quickly it does go. Hey, it's Rosen and Kyler Murray all over again, apparently, but Justin Fields, man, you ruined a bunch of. I'm so glad I almost took him with the first overall pick in one of our leagues too, or the first round pick. Man, that would have crippled me, but this one hurts a lot of people, including myself. Christian McCaffrey, CMC, oblique strain, possible rib fractures, cartilage. The MRI came back. There is no fracture. There is no cartilage. So there is a God, yes. But he could potentially. Shanahan did say he could potentially suit up this week. It's going to be about pain tolerance. You shoot him up with some cortisone and then likely not going to injure it further. But, I mean, would they be smart to sit him this week and go with Eli Mitchell and Mason? Just, give him some rest?
I think they'd be smart to do that, but they're not going to do that. I think for 2 reasons. One, he came back into that game. So usually if a guy is willing to come back into a game, and then also x-rays come up negative, so there was nothing really that can further get injured, and they confirm that through their x-rays. I think that's likely that he's going to play the next week then, because he was able to play. It's a pain tolerance thing, like you're saying. It's going to get a little bit less painful, after some time. I believe they play on Monday night too, right? So I think, that's solid for them. They should be all right. By Monday, he should be healed up a little bit better to go. Plus, they lost that game, regardless of if it was his fault or, the kicker, he missed the kick, unfortunately. Tough spot for him, but they lost the game at the end of the day. So that's going to add a little bit more pressure to Kyle. The seasons are different now. This is a new NFL. Only one team gets the bye. You only get one bye. So that top spot is pivotal. So that loss that they just sustained, I know it's going to be in the back of their heads. Now they're coming out playing another team that they know is going to be desperate. They should get the win here on paper, but there's no guarantees here. It's a week-to-week league. So with all that said, I really think they're going to lean to play him. He was good enough to play last week. I think he'll at least start and see how he feels and go from there. I think he's at least going to be in the mix of that running back rotation, but it's not going to be that 90% domination that we've seen, these past 5-6 weeks. It's definitely going to be around that like 30-40 and then 30-30 split, something in that. Like, I think the 3 running backs are really going to get touches here.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. I think that if he does suit up, it's going to be split backfield, and they're going to kind of give him the game off while he's still playing type of deal. And I mean, for your respect and purpose here, who you going, Mitchell or Mason? Because a lot of people on the waiver wire are confused and they need some assistance.
I think that one's tough, but I would lean Mason personally, just based on what I saw in that last game, how he was able to play, Mitchell's injury history. I would lean Mason.
Wow, I'm going the other way. I'm going Mitchell over Mason because I think that it is still Mitchell's backfield outside of CMC. It's just the injuries continue to hamper this man. He had some sprinkle touches last week, Mitchell did, so I'm thinking even if CMC does sit, I'll say it this way as well, it would be a pure 50-50 split between Eli and Mason, and then whoever's got the hot hand, Shanny would obviously roll in that direction, but let's hope we don't have to cross that bridge because that would be a terrible show for Monday night, especially crippling everybody for fantasy. So if you're a CMC owner, you definitely got to get at least Eli or Mason on your bench just in case CMC does not go, because it's going to be very tough for you to fill that spot unless you put another running back there. You put CMC in your flex and hope for the best so you can switch him out that way.
Yeah, I'm with you with that at least. But I do think he's going to play. I think you can hold out good hope that he's one of those guys that you're going to get good word to by Thursday, Friday, that he's probably going to be, questionable but likely, And as long as it's not a doubtful play, I would lean CMC is going to play.
Yeah, I foresee did not practice Thursday, Friday, and then get a limited session in on Saturday, and then he'll likely suit up on Monday Night Football. But these Lions, they got some bad news. I mean, can they ever keep a running back as well? David Montgomery, Monty, our guy, he's been killing it. And I mean, he wasn't necessarily my guy. I shouldn't coin that. I was kind of a hater in Chicago, but I mean, rib cartilage injury, he's out already week 7, maybe out until bye week 9, and then return in week 10. This thing could linger if it doesn't heal, obviously. Gibbs needs to come back from the hammy, so we could see some Reynolds in this backfield with some other dudes that they're going to sprinkle in. But, I mean, they desperately require Gibbs to be back on the field, which is also concerning for me because how good they look offensively with a run game, if you're trying to rush Gibbs back if his hamstring is truly injured because you don't have Monty on the field, this could pose to be another injury for Gibby as we get closer to, week 12, week 13, even if re-injury right upon return.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the reports have been lately with Gibbs. I didn't think he was anywhere near playing last week. I didn't hear anything about him being close or a game time decision. It looked like they ruled him out pretty early. So with them saying that he's probably going to be back now for this week, it does feel a little rushed in terms of hamstring, but they are kind of, hamstrung in that situation with both guys being hurt, right? And Monty's definitely out. I think they're going to hold out until after the bye for him for sure. The second time he's had an injury in the short season already. They use him excessively. Even if Gibbs is 100% healthy, they still use Monty excessively. So with that usage, they're gonna have to get that guy 100% healthy before he returns. I think it's you could book it. He's not coming back till after the bye. In terms of Gibbs, if he's ready to go, I think they're gonna lean on him, but not heavily. It's gonna be a pretty heavy touches for Craig Reynolds and whoever else they might sprinkle in there, and they're gonna probably hope that he can, shoulder that. Because I don't foresee them wanting to use Gibbs as that RB1 that he looked like he was drafted to be, and then with having the injury already this early in his young career, I think they're going to push the pause button on that. There's not going to be a rush to get him out there, man. I don't see it. This week I see him getting like 40%, 35% of the touches.
Yeah, he's had a long history of injuries, even going back to Chicago. So I mean, durability concerns are definitely there for Montgomery. I'm curious to see how this Detroit Lions offense does move. So say there is no Gibbs, and Monty obviously not this week. But let's say they do try to pass the ball more. We saw a little bit of the evolution with a J-Mo. He's trying to figure out his NFL game clearly. Underthrown pass, but he made a phenomenal turn, look into the right, switch 360, look into the left, makes an unbelievable catch for the touchdown. You wait for this kid to actually get it together, and Jared Goff has been slinging the ball. We can't say anything negative about what Goff has been doing. I wonder, though, without the dedication to the ground game, can Jared Goff sustain this offense to be as high-powered as they have been?
Yeah, I think he can. It looked like they were forced into it last week, right? Because Gibbs was already out of that game. Monty went out pretty early. That defense is pretty good that they were going against in terms of stopping the run to begin with. And they just said, F it, like Goff's going to win this on his arm. And he was slinging it. Amon-Ra, I think they said it was a career high in receptions, career high in targets. Sam Laporta is doing his thing. They were throwing a lot to him. Goff's looking like the Goff that they had with Sean McVay and Todd Gurley, but everybody thought that was a manufactured version of Goff. He's shown that he can play, man. It doesn't matter where he is. He's no poor man's anything. Goff is legit, and I think they can lean on him. They're gonna initially, I believe, go back to their bread and butter. Want to run this ball. If it's Craig, if it's Gibbs, if it's someone else, if it's sprinkling Khalif Raymond on the reverses, whatever they got to do, they're going to try to run the ball. But if it's not working, they're not afraid to say, Goff, you throw this ball 35, 40 times a game.
It's interesting. It's very, very interesting. Detroit, the best team in the NFC right now? That's the big question mark.
They're right up there. I'm not willing to say that they're above the Eagles or above the Cowboys or above the 49ers, but they're right up there. I think they can compete with all of those teams, and on any given Sunday, they definitely could give one of those guys an L.
I love the way that this team was built. You guys know this. I've been saying it for so many years now already. But it's funny how resilient they are. And that's a team that you don't want to face, especially if they're hitting on all cylinders. And the way this defense is playing, Hutchinson's a grown-ass man, and he's anchoring that defense to be very powerful. They're for real. I mean, when was the last time we could say Detroit was for real, man? Even with Calvin Johnson and Stafford, I don't think we saw this team gel like this in, God, even Barry days going way back. They look different.
They didn't have this. Well, even back then, they didn't have this many names. Like, you could say Calvin, you could say, Stafford, but then you're kind of running out, right? Right now, you got Hutchinson. That's a name for real. You got Rodriguez. I'm a fan.
Huge.
You got Jack Campbell. That rookie, he's going to be a player. You got CJ, Chauncey Gardner when he's healthy. He produces. He finds the ball. He makes hard hits. Then you also got the rookie that they just drafted, Branch. He's injured right now, but he can play. Like they've got some players. Like
that Joseph safety, he's good stuff.
Joseph safety. They've really got some players right now. So, and then on the offensive side of the ball, we know the Sun God he's a stud. We know David Montgomery. Obviously, if you give him enough, he always falls forward. Right. And we're all waiting for Gibbs. Like everybody knows Gibbs is just
it's coming.
He's just like we're just waiting for Gibbs like a little kid on Christmas. It's gonna happen.
Yep.
You know it's gonna happen.
Yep.
So I'm with you. They built something over there. It's sustainable. Goff knows how to run that ship. It's similar to like everybody how they're hyping up Purdy and how he can just run the offense in San Francisco. Goff can he doesn't just run it. He actually he's the guy that manages it. Goff is the leader of this entire thing, and I'm a fan of what they're doing over there. But like I said, this is a week-to-week league. I'm not going too far anymore. Everything is it's gonna transition week to week. They did have an L to Seattle that I thought was a little bit suspect. So we'll see. We'll see where they rank.
Yeah, they're good. I'm a big fan as well. I love what they're doing. Kudos to the entire brass in Detroit. It is very good. But switching to the Rams, Kyren Williams, he's been going off the chain, one of the greater waiver wire running back pickups we've had this season, and now he's got an ankle sprain, likely moderate is what the word is. But we can't rule out a high ankle sprain. He left in a walking boot. He was ruled out extremely early for week number 7. It was basically on the plane ride home. They basically texted that and said, yeah, he's not playing this week. I mean, he could return week 8, but this is not good because I'm seeing they're re-signing Darrell Henderson. He's coming back home to L.A., and then Myles Gaskin was signed, I believe, off the Vikings practice squad. So if they're gearing up for more bodies in this running back room, this does not bode well. I mean, we saw Ronnie Rivers go down also. He's gone for quite some time. I think they put him on IR. But they also have this Zach Evans kid from Ole Miss. He's finally going to get his shot. For me, I do like his game. I was not over the moon on his game. I am not overly convinced that he's an in-between-the-tackle runner. He's got some juice and some wheels to get around the tackles and be the outside guy. But this is going to have to be somewhat of a committee approach with all these running backs that they brought in.
Yeah, this is not good. I was big on Kyren. He was one of my sleeper guys from a few years ago, just coming out of college. I kind of liked his game, and I liked the opportunity here. So when he finally got the opportunity, they cut ties with Akers. I went in every league I could, and I went and grabbed him, spent a lot of fab on him. So this is going to hurt me in every league I'm in. And yeah, this is gonna be tough to replace because they were quick to rule him out. I think he's gonna be out a couple weeks, to be honest. I think it's probably 2 weeks. The fact that they put the other running back on IR immediately and not Kyren bodes well for his return within 2 weeks. I think he's closer to coming back in 2 weeks than further. So, and they leaned heavily on him, so they're going to need him. But with that said, I think rookie's going to get his opportunity. I don't think Sean's going to trust him to lean on him, especially pass protection, especially with the complex offenses that they run. So they're going to have to bring. That's why I think they went to Daryl, because Daryl already knows this book, right? It's not going to be something he has to learn. So he's going to probably just plug right into third downs. I can see that happening. And then we'll see where Miles fits in. Like, he's going to have to learn this offense too. I'm not sure how much he has from his past, but this is going to be just a kerfuffle until Kyren comes back, man. It's going to be hard to grab somebody out of that backfield. They might just lean heavy on Cooper Kupp and Stafford, and they can do that.
And that's exactly where I was going. You see, you kind of recreate the run with Puka and Kupp. I mean, what else can you do? Like Tom Brady style, how he did with Edelman and Wes Welker back in the day. Recreate the run, because Stafford's his arm's gonna fall off until Kyren comes back. They're gonna throw 55 times a game to these slot wide receivers, but it's a big loss. And I mean, speaking of Cooper Kupp, apparently there's a possible right ankle injury that he got rolled up in on the end zone. I haven't seen anything definitive to suggest anything serious. It was just something I noticed and saw online, and it's something to monitor. But, I mean, with Cooper Kupp, how many times can this guy go down with something? And that was on the ankle that he hurt. I believe that was surgically repaired. Don't quote me on that one. I'd have to double check. But it's that same ankle that he left that one contest in a walking boot. So these are things you got to keep tabs on, because, I mean, Kupp has been a baller, but, I mean, his body just seemingly seems to be breaking down a little bit.
Yeah, these are kind of freak ones too. Like, it obviously, I didn't see it on the live game. I watched a lot of that game too, so that was a shocker when I saw it on the feed that he was hurt. I haven't heard anything, so I don't think it's serious. I don't think he's gonna miss this week. Just gut feeling, nothing that I can really swear on. But he's the guy. He does everything to stay healthy in terms of like his regimen. Like, I've read a couple books and stories about what he's done, and he's diligent with it, right? So I don't know what to say with him. It's just kind of bad luck, because he does everything he can to be out there. He's probably I think he's gonna be out there. He just gotta cross his fingers and hope he keeps rolling. But then again, when you catch the ball 14 times in one game, that's 14 times somebody's trying to hit you minimum, on top of the times you're run blocking. So those things are gonna add up, and that's like a running back almost getting
100%.
hit. It's gonna add up.
No, 100%. And I mean, Puka dropping TDs now. I don't know, man. Fantasy football this week, man, we saw a lot of wide receivers dropping the football, and I didn't like it, man. Clean it up. It wasn't that bad. Man, we should have touched on the Cleveland Browns defense before we move on to these injuries, but I mean, maybe we'll save that after we get through this list, because it's still daunting. Deebo Samuel, he is on the injury report as well, likely a type 1 AC sprain. Obviously not overly concerning, but the fact that he left the contest, anybody that understands an AC joint injury, it is very difficult to even lift your arms. That's why I'm shocked that Derek Carr was able to come back. He's off the freaking injury report last week. I don't know what they did to that man's AC joint, but I mean, for a guy like Deebo, who does take a lot of punishment as well, he's starting to bug me with his injuries. No disrespect to the man, but I mean, it's every single other week with this man, it feels like. And I mean, the fact that his role has been completely, pulled back because of a CMC, I mean, Deebo's becoming so difficult to trust in fantasy football at this point. He's, likely going to suit up in week 7 from what I'm hearing, but he's definitely one we got to watch as well.
Yeah, you got to watch that one. He left that game pretty quick. He was quick to jump on active on Twitter, on X, and respond to all the trash talk between him and Chauncey. So I don't think he's that hurt that he's not going to get back on the field. He was saying a lot there. So just following him from that perspective, I feel like he has the chip on his shoulder away from the injury. I feel like there's something with him where he feels like he has something to prove, and I'm not sure if it's just because of the way things ended last year with the injury to the quarterback and how it just, it was kind of like a sour taste in their mouth or what, but something's up with him in terms of that. He got into that little scuffle before the game and just putting himself in harm's way, And like you said, he's got a history where he gets banged up. He plays a physical style. He delivers as much as he takes. So when you do that, probably want to minimize the amount of hits you take as much as possible, unless they're worth it. The ones that you get paid to take are the ones you should take only. But yeah, I think he's going to be out there. The way they're using him, the way the offense has been, he's been tough, man. I'm a big Ayuk guy. I think Ayuk is just getting better. He's ascending. So he's the clear cut number one to me in that offense. Debo, it's matchup based.
Yeah, I agree. He's like an elite gadget player to me. And all this wide receiver one talk, Debo, I'm sorry, I don't buy it for a second. I mean, that's my bike, punk. And I mean, okay, anybody needs to watch Friday for that reference. But I mean, Trevor Lawrence, he goes down to a left knee injury. MRI was negative for ligaments and meniscus. This offense in Jacksonville is pissing me off, and I'm not going to lie to y'all. I had high expectations for this offense. Calvin Ridley still is in second gear. I mean, Christian Kirk's the only one that's balling on the regular, and some Travis Etienne, obviously. But, I mean, we're talking anybody getting the ball from Trevor Lawrence. It is no bueno. He's likely going to suit up. It's a short week. They're playing Thursday night versus these New Orleans Saints. So, I mean, can you trust it? Because he didn't look pretty happy when he took that roll on that knee on this past week.
Not at all. Not at all. And it's been it's been a couple times now, a couple weeks. I'm worried about him. It even dates back to last year. There's a couple times where he'd get rolled up and balled up in games. He'd finish the game. So he shows toughness. He's got a lot of toughness. I got to give it up to him. Similar to Mahomes in that sense, where he can finish the game. And I wasn't actually that scared that he would miss this game. Like I said, he's got a lot of toughness. This kid, there's something to him, but I'm worried that in terms of the way the offense has just flowed, that's where my problem is. I'm not too worried about him necessarily putting himself in harm's way or re-injuring himself during that Saints game. I think Doug will come up with a pretty good plan. They'll try to lean on ATN. They'll come up with quick, screens and ways to get the ball out of his hand. Like he's too important to risk him. But in terms of him actually being able to produce now with that, that's going to be another game story. That's a whole nother argument now. Saints have a pretty good defense. I'm worried. I'm pushing a bit of the panic button. He hasn't produced this year, and that's with us thinking he was going to absolutely kill it. There was talks of MVPs. He was going to be in the race. Everything was supposed to ascend. None of that is happening right now. I'm definitely concerned about Trevor Lawrence this week.
It is a tough one. And one thing I was thinking about with this offense on a short week, it's the running back usage between a Travis Etienne and a Tank Bigsby. So if any week was the week to unleash Tank, this is the week because it's a short week. Etienne got a huge boatload of carries and a lot of success this past week. Give Etienne a little bit of a break and start running the ball with some Tank. It's a tough defense. You're going to play some smash mouth. Alleviate some pressure off of a Trevor Lawrence while, supplanting some carries from an Etienne. This may be the week we see Etienne or Tank Bigsby arrive.
That might be a good call. I didn't think of that. I haven't heard a lot of that chatter. But you're onto something there. I think that's actually a smart way to approach the game. Thursday night, you always know it's a short week. You don't get your full game plan in. You guys aren't practicing. They're just basically doing their ice baths, resting, and try to get as healthy as they can for the game. So I like that call. I have noticed though he's been fumbling. That's been an issue. He's got the fumbleitis that ATN had last year.
Yes,
it's like it got passed on to Tank. So
yeah. That
is a problem. You fumble once, you're gonna get yanked. They can't trust you. They can't trust you with that ball if you're gonna be fumbling. So that's something to watch for. But yeah, I can see him getting a lot more opportunity at the very least.
It's interesting. And I'm only going to bring up Josh Allen. We don't have to cover this a lot, but he's got a right shoulder injury, likely an AC sprain. X-rays came back negative. He played through it. Could be painful, but they're going up against the New England Patriots this week. Derek Carr, very much a similar injury. So if Derek Carr can get over it in, 2 weeks, I mean, Josh Allen can probably get it over it in a couple days because he is just a madman. I want to touch on this Cleveland Browns defense before we go to our little discussion at the end. This defense, man, okay, Myles Garrett, J.O.K., Denzel Ward, Delpit, I mean, keep going with all these names. They're playing so good. And I believe I saw the NFL record is the lowest amount of yards given up. It's like 1,009 yards in the first 6 weeks of the NFL season. This is unbelievable. This is legit a Super Bowl caliber defense that you Cleveland Brownies have. Cleveland fans stand up because you should be proud. Why can't your offense come with y'all, man? Deshaun had to go down, but this defense is so damn good that even how we saw them play the 49ers, I think they can strike fear in anybody, and the fact that Myles Garrett was giving Trent Williams a run for his money, I have never seen Trent being pushed around like he was a rag doll, I don't think ever in his career, and Myles was giving him the business.
Miles is Miles should be the one that owns that name, grown ass man. Like, there's a lot of other guys that are really close, but they aren't Miles grown. Like, this dude he's different. Like, he makes grown men look like children, right? He moved a tank. That's what Trent really is, and he moved him with one hand out of the way on his way to the quarterback. And even I felt like Trent stood there for a second, like, yo, that doesn't happen to me. Like, the hell was that? But Miles is special, man. And like you said, this defense is elite. This is unreal. Like, they're not even necessarily getting a lot of turnovers. They just don't let you move the ball. So this is an elite that will be sustainable. They will travel. They will play any type of offense, any quarterback. They are that type of defense. That's what I'm seeing on film. They're definitely them dudes out there. Scheme, the whole nine. As long as Miles is out there to lead that charge, they're rough, man. They're going to rough you up, and you better get ready to get beat up. And whoever's coming to play Cleveland's going to get beat up.
And it's surprising because in the preseason, I think they had 11 turnovers. I was excited with these guys in the preseason because I'm like, holy shit, they can turn over the ball at any given moment. And in this season, they just said, yeah, you know what? The turnovers will come. We're just going to be straight up lockdown. And kudos to Schwartz, former Bills defensive coordinator. I mean, he's I don't know what he's doing. He's found his mojo once again in Cleveland. This defense is so good. It's actually a pleasure to watch them.
Absolutely. I'm loving it, man. They're killing it. They're just I don't even have enough acronyms or anything to say about them. It's amazing to see them play right now. I'm on board with what Cleveland's doing right now. And Jim Schwartz is Eagles former defensive coordinator too. So we're a fan of his work as well.
That's right.
Definitely liking what they're doing over there.
There's some old team love going on, but I mean, we'll finish this thing off. There's respect for Cleveland for sure. I had to bring it up before we got out of here, but I mean, who is the biggest disappointment so far in your fantasy season? Good Lord Almighty, these three gentlemen have given me more gray hairs this year than I've ever had. Took years off my life watching you play football. My quarterback, Justin Fields, I bet this man across the way from me here $50 that Justin Fields was going to hit 4,000 yards. I failed, and Justin Fields, you failed me. I'm going to send you the bill. For my running back, it is Ramondre. Dre, you are killing me as well, but I'm not going to put everything on his back. I think it's a lot to do with Mac. No Money Jones and Bill Belichick, and this whole offense is just not roaming right. Don't like it, but Dre has just been absolutely horrendous for me this year. You're not even getting the garbage time productivity we're hoping for. The PPR upside is not there. Killing me. And then my last one, wide receiver. This one was horrific. I look like a fool for this one, but my guy, Jahan Dotson. But again, like I mentioned, it's scheme based on this one. It's not because Jahan isn't playing well. Eric Bieniemy simply is utilizing other talents like a Curtis Samuel, like Terry, and then using the ground game. Logan Thomas is even getting in the mix, and Jahan is basically the coverage puller in this scheme at this point. It sucks. I still believe in Jahan. I think he's got all the talent in the world, and Sam Howell is doing pretty well. So, I mean, those are my three, man. Where are you going?
Yeah, those are tough ones, man. I had Fields as my quarterback 8 coming into the season, so where he's sitting right now, I feel you. Ramondre has my RB 11. That one, I'm with you. The scheme, or I'm not sure if it's what's going on with him this week. Though I do think he's a pretty good player. I think Buffalo's been kind of giving up some big runs, right? So Ramondre might get you a bounce back here. And then Jahan, wow, that one's tough. I had him as a wide receiver 38. I thought he was going to break out, be that wide receiver 3 this year. That one's killing me in a lot of leagues. But for me personally, I'm going with Trevor Lawrence, who we talked about in the show. I had him as my QB5. That's who I ranked him coming into the season. Right now, his actual ranking is QB 15, so he's way behind. I don't know if he's going to reach where I projected him. It doesn't look good. He's killing me wherever I have him. Next guy I had Gibbs. Jahmyr Gibbs is my RB. I ranked him as the RB 10 coming into the season.
Ooh.
Yeah, I went high on Gibbs. Now, just to save me, as luck would have it, guess who's ranked as the RB10 right now in half PPR?
Ms. Monty.
Monty.
Yeah.
So it's basically like I predicted it. I just went with the wrong guy. I knew that offense was going to be doing what it's doing. The draft capital, Gibbs. luck would have it, it was Monty. So unfortunately, Gibbs, I think he's sitting at the RB like 40 right now or something around there, 39. So it's not looking good. And then the next guy I had was JSN. I was kind of high on the Seattle offense. I thought that they were going to move the ball. I know he's not going to be leapfrogging either DK or Tyler, but I thought they would spread the ball, play a little bit different offense, and he would find his role. And I was high on him coming in. I thought he was the best receiver in the class. I had him ranked as the wide receiver 44, just outside the top, like a flex play type player. He's not even that right now. I think he's like ranked 91. So he's killing you. I'm still hoping that on the back side of the season, they might find a role for him, though, because the talent is there. The talent is definitely there.
It's a good group, and I mean, you got swings and you got misses. I got lots of them as well, and these are my top three that I was promoting, and it just killed me. When it comes to JSN, it was interesting for me because we're a fan of JSN's game. We know he's going to eventually explode, but it's this offense. That's why when Seattle drafted him, I was a little confused because you got Tyler Lockett. You're almost mimicking the skill set in how you utilize this type of wide receiver. Lockett's faster, obviously plays a different game, but there wasn't enough, target share to go around to 3 wideouts and have a full impact run game. So I don't know. That one always confused me why they did draft him. It reeks of futures for me where Tyler Lockett's contract will be off the books, and then they're gonna, put a JSN in, and Jackson Smith, the Jigba, is gonna do some business. And then your other guy, Gibbs. I mean, so here, just like my Jahan Dotson issue when it came to how they utilize the man, I think you're saved on that one as well. We went for the high upside, high uptick on Gibbs, but they just don't utilize them enough, just like Jahan. It's not the skill set isn't there. It's just the playing time isn't there based on how the scheme is, right? So.
Yeah, no, they're not using him enough. But, the injuries, they set him back. We'll see. He's got the talent, so long season, we'll see. I know he's going to have a couple breakout games, so I can't wait for those, and we can talk about those ones.
It's coming. It's coming in due time, but I mean, that's all I got for today. It's a long season. Get ready for bye week Armageddon. Injury troubles, we got you covered here on this channel. Drop them in the comments. We hook you up. But I mean, Eric, is always good fun, man, and we'll have another good day of football, I'm assuming, on Thursday, Sunday, and Monday.
Absolutely. Can't wait. This kicks off with Jacksonville and the Saints. So, can't wait, man.
Football's love, man. I love it so much, but nevertheless, as always, don't forget to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, jump in those comments, give me your thoughts, and we'll see you next time. I am out.